Joining us now, Craig Shirley, of course, his new best-selling book, The Last Act, The Last Days and Legacy of Ronald Reagan. It is a smash bestseller. It's on our Facebook page, one of the great, I think, books of the last couple of months and certainly the last year. It's right in the top 5 of all the books that we've featured this year on the Laura Ingraham Show. It's a great hostess gift. We're delighted he's with us. Craig, great to have you back. How are you?
Thank you, Laura. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Also, Craig's piece on LifeZet about where we are in this 2016 race, the debates, must read as well. Make sure we tweet that out, Drew, during the segment so people can read Craig in the shorter form as well. Craig, we have to get you in on this conversation on the immigration as it relates to 2016, then we'll talk about the debate.
Sure.
It really is something today that to be for the rule of law and American sovereignty means you're against free trade, you're against trade, you're an isolationist, you're a restrictionist, and you're a xenophobe. That's where the debate has gone, the establishment versus the average people.
Well, actually, I'm against the rule of law because I go back to what Sam Hayakawa once said about the Panama Canal treaties. We stole it fair and square. Get over it, okay? So we stole California fair and square, so get over it. Try to take it back from us.
All right. Well, let's expand on that. Yeah, nice. Okay. I get the joke, but the joke is lost, frankly, on most people who are seeing their country slip away. They're seeing their wages not go up. And we have a lot of establishment types who are just scratching their heads saying, oh, we don't know why people are so upset. Why are people so angry? You're just an angry person.
Well, I think they have every right to be angry. I mean, look, the majority of the country can't all be wrong all the time. Is that they are upset. They are upset about losing their future. They're upset about losing the value of a hard-earned buck, the value of their home. Of course they're upset. And so that explains, the manifestation of Ben Carson and Donald Trump and Ted Cruz and others, is that I don't think the establishment really truly understands the profound revolution that's going on inside of American politics and specifically inside the Republican Party today. It's really the elites, especially the Bush elites.
The Bushes are adamant that Jeb is going to go to the end. The last dog dies. Mike's going to bump out with Jeb's new theme song, by the way. I sent it to him yesterday. We're going to use
I'm a Loser by the Beatles?
No, that's too obvious. No, we have a much more nuanced song for Jeb Bush, how he's going to basically fight until the very, very end. But he was out there yesterday and talking about the campaign and a reference to Reagan. Let's listen.
As it relates to Dick Cheney, he served my brother well as vice president, and he served my dad extraordinarily well as Secretary of Defense. The context changes, and the world has changed. It always changes, and the context changes as it relates to foreign policy and everything else. So looking forward, I think there are lessons to be learned from both those presidencies and the presidencies of Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton.
So he was talking, of course, about the Meacham biography of his father, where his father
there's a larger point here.
The
larger point here. He's not talking to the American people. He's talking the insider game. And as long as he's talking the insider game, then he is talking past the voters. He's not addressing what you just brought up, which is people are upset. But he's not talking about how to fix their problem. He's talking about insider politics and Dick Cheney and Bill Clinton and Donald Rumsfeld, and it just goes over people's heads.
Well, and I think that in the end, the Bushes don't. I mean, to admit to themselves, Craig, why we are where we are is to admit culpability. Sure. And nobody in Washington wants to ever be blamed. They want to just say it's the other party's fault.
Right.
And again, I think if you have a moment where you say, now with the time we've had and looking back on this. I would have really done things differently. And I think the people are setting us straight, and it's about time. I mean, that would be refreshing to hear from a politician.
Sure, it would be, but then their whole suit of armor would fall off. You will rarely hear a politician apologize. You never heard Richard Nixon apologize. You did hear Reagan apologize for Iran-Contra, which actually was a way, it was a great testament that he had such self-confidence in himself that he could actually apologize. Same thing with John Kennedy over the Bay of Pigs fiasco, is that he wasn't responsible, but he went on national television and took responsibility. And I think that speaks volumes about the character of an individual, that they do take responsibility for their mistakes.
And where do you think, Craig, we are right now with reclaiming conservatism from the establishment. Peggy Noonan was on yesterday, and she basically just laid waste to the establishment. I mean, she said these people have mishandled and misrepresented the situation in this country where the recovery doesn't work for most people, and she basically just said in a nicer way, it's despicable. And the people are now saying we're gonna do what we did in 1979. We're gonna take the party back from the elites and return it to the people. Do you think that is also what is going on here?
Oh, I think that's absolutely what's going on. There's been 4 really profound revolutions inside the Republican Party in the 20th century: 1964, 1976. 1980 and 1994, and it's actually overdue for a new revolution inside the Republican Party. But it's manifests itself in many ways in 2010 and 2014. But I think it's coming to a head for 2016, if only because it's a presidential contest and more people are paying attention.
And I think that even someone like a Chuck Todd, he seemed to understand that at the heart of this was taking on the Bush legacy. That to be really honest with ourselves, we have to realize that it was utterly rejected by the American people in 2008, and frankly, still feeling the aftermath of it in 2012.
Yes, but still is that the establishment still clings to a revised narrative of history. You see the attempted resurrection of George Bush by certain media institutions and books about him and all that. So there's still an attempt to revive or resuscitate the Bush legacy.
But do you think if Jeb goes down like we think he could go down, and again anything can happen, but if he goes down and comes in 3rd or 4th or 5th in his own home state, if he stays in it, which I think he will.
Right.
What does that do to George P. and all the other kids out there with the last Bush name? I mean, is that finally going to drive the stake through the heart of the Bushes? No, they're going to come back like Freddy Krueger.
No, it makes them work harder. They are never going to surrender. They're never going to go away. You're never going to drive the stake in their heart and put the garlic around their throats. Is that they are always going to. They're always going to fight for the legacy. They're always going to fight for political power. That is the nature of the political establishment, is they never, ever quit.
This was an exchange I just had with Republican consultant and old partner of Haley Barbour's, Ed Rogers, and it starts with my question. Let's listen. Ed, it starts with Ed first. Let's listen.
I see it. I don't blame Republicans for it. I don't blame Republicans for most of it. Okay. Republicans aren't dictators in Washington. I wish they were, But so you don't think George W. Bush's second term had anything to do with setting up Obama's victory in 2008 as just totally two divorced subjects? Of course it did. Of course. So then Republicans do have some blame, right? Sure, not blame-free, but not most of the blame. And if we had more Republicans, we'd be better off, not worse off. Your reaction. My first question was, isn't it time to look at ourselves in the mirror? And he initially said they don't have any blame, and.
Well, that's ridiculous. Is that not only does the Bush victory in 2000 and 2004 does three things. One, it ends the Reagan Revolution. Two, it sets up the election of Barack Obama. And three, it creates the Tea Party and the schism that you see in the Republican Party today. Ronald Reagan left office in January of 1989 with a 76% approval rating and a coherent governing philosophy. He had actually a higher approval rating among voters under 30 than he had among voters over 30. He also had a 40% approval rating among African Americans. He had a philosophy that was cogent, coherent, and made common sense. Is that what Bush came in and basically talked about big government republicanism, which is contrary, antithetical to what Republican is all about. So it created the schism that exists today. The Tea Party is vibrant and strong, but it created also the conditions for the election of Barack Obama.
Craig Shirley, the new bestseller. Just so delighted he was with us. Last Act, The Final Years, An Emerging Legacy of Ronald Reagan. It's out everywhere, bookstores everywhere, Amazon.com, of course. And Craig has written so many bestsellers, and this is just another great one. Craig, thank you so much for the perspective.
You bet, Laura. Thank you.